So today we're running water for the rodents. This is going to be for African sophros here. Over there is for rats, and it will keep going down the line using that PEX tubing up there on either side down the building. So each set of racks will have its own water reservoir. But how this works is so it goes all the way on the PEX, all the way over to this garden hose, and then on one side here you have a toilet flush valve filling this water or this reservoir here. So it's shooting water out right there. How this works is so it goes from the garden hose adapter down there. We got a 4-way splitter so I can run other stuff. Goes up to that T right there, that PEX T. One line runs this way to do this wall. The other line runs all the way. You can see it cross over the door right there. Runs all the way over that office there. And goes down to that one to hook up to that whole side. So when we get to here, we have a T, obviously. It comes down. This one I got to clean up. I ran out of connections here. But it runs down, and it runs to a toilet on-off valve, so I have to shut it off, to a toilet supply hose, to a toilet flush valve that fills up the bin. Now, when the bin gets full with water, it will start to push this float up, and when this float gets to the set level, it shuts the water off. So it'll keep running all the way until that point, and then it'll shut itself off. The reason we're doing this, as opposed to just, you can get a low pressure regulator, hook it up there, and run all your hose. But those low pressure regulators have a maximum amount of feet of 1/4 inch tube that they can supply before they won't supply proper pressure anymore. Which I'm pretty sure by the time we fill this entire building, we would have more feet than one pressure regulator could have. So you'd end up having to tee it off and do multiple pressure regulators anyway. Also, that would mean you have to have the water running at all times to all these bins. And if a rat chews a hole into one, a loose rat, it's just going to continue to dump out. This, we could shut it off at any point. There'll be a shut off. There's a shut off valve on each bucket to stop this flow, and the rest of the place can still have flow. Also, medication's a big reason. There's a lot of liquid soluble medications that you use to treat your entire colony of rats. So you need to have a reservoir to mix that medication in so that we can medicate the rats. Also, what happens if we get a don't use the water notice here? Like, let's say there's something contaminated with the water. Happens every once in a while. You get a thing in the mail that says, don't use the water. It's not safe to drink. Well, if we just had pressure regulators and it was running off the water supply, how would we water the rats? With these reservoirs, if we get that don't use the water notice, or like, let's say the water goes out or something, we can literally get a trailer with a water tank on it, fill it up at the house or somewhere else on a better water supply, bring it here, and then pump it into each reservoir so we could still water the rats. So medication for one, in case you lose water or the water's not usable, for 2, 3 for leaks and stuff like that. And I guess 4, you could say, for the supply anyway. This, I don't have to worry about pressure regulators, nothing like that. This isn't the cheaper option. This is actually probably more expensive. It's definitely more expensive. But it's what we chose to go with, and it's how we're going to set up all of our rat water. So anyway, let's go back and check on this one. Oh, while that's still running, show you something over here. So this is how we have this set up right now. See, if your water spigot comes to a 4-way that I mounted to the wall, so it's not just dangling and then the hoses are mounted. So this hose is going to be just a hose to use. You can see it running. It's up over the door. I'm going to put a hose winder on this wall here, but that's just a hose with a sprayer on it. This is our one that goes up to that PEX there and converts, is going to do all the rat water. This one's going to be the bug water. So this one will run over to the bugs, and we'll have a timer for misting all the bugs. And this one we don't have a use for. But these are pretty simple little things. I mean, you literally just off, on. So that's pretty legit. Anyway, let's see how this thing is doing over here. We also need to, whenever you set up a new thing, So let's make sure that this water is on for the rodents. Nope, it's off. So we'll flip this on. How it's doing up here. Oh, so it should be shutting off any time now. It's still running. It might already be off. It's already off. So see, there we go. So see, it made it all the way up and it's off. That's as high as it will fill. So that's going to be your fill level for these bins. So we got to check for leaks. This is from when I was cutting the pecs. We want to make sure it's not leaking from under here where it's connected. No leaks on any of my things. That's on. Make sure none of our tubing is leaking anywhere. But a good way to kind of expedite this process is just like bleeding brake lines. You want to come to your lowest point. Let me get a bucket here so I don't make a mess. Come to your lowest point, farthest from the source, bleed it first. So I'm just going to run this. It's going to get all the air out of that line until water starts coming out. There we go. Get all the air bubbles out. And you can see where the air bubbles hit. It kind of speckles for a second. Good enough. Now we'll go to our next one up. We're going to bleed all these lines. See, this one bleeds a lot faster because now it's only having to bleed this line here instead of the hole all the way back to the bucket. So we bleed each line, and that will actually help us identify leaks faster too. And the rats, they learn, you know, we don't want them trying to get water and then thinking, you know, like these water nipples don't work or something and giving up or something like that, or getting trained that these water nipples don't supply water. So we want to make sure that all these lines are charged with water for them. It's taking longer. There we go. There we go. Then you can come to each bin. Oh yeah, I forgot to stop first. And kind of touch the nipple here. It only should take a second. Each one. And then you'll have, okay, already got water coming out. Man,